Title: Echoes of Containment. The wind howled through the grove of ancient trees, deep in the woods outside of a small town. It was autumn, and the leaves were a kaleidoscope of yellows, oranges, and deep reds, but something dark lurked among them. As dusk fell, the world seemed to fade into shadows, where whispers carried more than just rustling leaves. And in those woods, a sense of dread coiled tighter around every heartbeat. Lila Monroe had always been drawn to places drenched in mystery, but she had never imagined that her curiosity would lead her to the doorstep of SCP Foundation, an organization whispered about in the dark corners of the internet. Most rumors painted them as heroes, capturing monsters to protect the world. Some viewed them as tyrants, abducing innocent souls under the guise of containment. What Lila learned through various forums was enough to stir the coals of her imagination, and embolden her before she crept into the woods one fateful night. The creepy urban legends about the SCP-4X entity intrigued her more than any ghost story could. It was said to inhabit the very trees she now ventured into, a creature capable of manipulating memories and drawing wanderers deeper into the forest until they became permanent residents, a part of the forest itself, their bodies woven into the roots and branches, their thoughts echoing in the midnight breeze. The moon hung heavy in the sky, illuminating her path like a beacon. Lila had brought with her only a flashlight and a battered notebook to jot down her findings. She stepped cautiously, the air thick with an unsettling mixture of excitement and fear. A chill ran down her spine as she approached an old facility, its rusted metal walls barely visible through the tangle of vines. She felt a tug at her mind, an invisible hand urging her closer. The door creaked open, and she entered the darkened facility, her flashlight beam cutting through the thick shadows. Instantly, the air turned colder. Thoughts flickered through her mind. What if she met an actual SCP? What if she was foolish for coming here? A clipboard lay on a dusty table, papers scattered beside it. She instinctively picked one up. The words seemed to come alive, a warning against the very thing she sought. Containment breach imminent. All personnel advised to evacuate. Do not trust the whispers. Suddenly, a rustling echoed from the hallway behind her. Heart pounding, she spun around, but there was nothing, only eerie silence. She could hear the faint sound of her breathing, which now seemed too loud against the oppressive stillness. And then, just beyond that, she heard it, soft whispers, like the wind gently brushing against her ear. Lila, come play with us. A cold terror shot through her veins. The voice was sweet like honey, laced with a chilling undertone that made the hairs on her arms stand on end. She wasn't alone here. Panic gripped her. It was wrong to be here, but intrigue still called to her like a siren's song. Lila, don't you want to stay? The whispers grew louder, more insistent. It was as if the very trees were calling her name. The darkness thickened, wrapping around her like a heavy fog. She stumbled backward, heart racing as visions of the empty forest enveloped her mind, people lost, dreams twisted into nightmares. And then she saw them. Figures, faint and flickering like candlelight in a storm. Their faces were once familiar, but now warped and trapped in expressions of anguish. They reached out, their hands turning to root like tendrils, grasping toward her like the branches above. Join us. She felt the pull of the SCP entity, a gravitational force that made her want to succumb. But deep within her, a spark of defiance ignited. Summoning her will, she tore her gaze from the beckoning figures, focusing on the memory of her life outside this nightmare, the warmth of her bed, the laughter of her friends. With a deep breath, Lila turned and ran. The whispers wove into screams, guttural and hoarse. Shadows stretched after her, stretching impossibly long. She felt something brush against her hair and screamed, pushing through the door and back into the forest. The world was different now. The trees loomed like giants, menacing and alive. She dodged branches as the air thickened around her. But finally, she broke free of the woods, lungs gasping for air as she stumbled into the clearing where her car was parked. She fumbled for the keys, fingers trembling. The whispers faded back into the dark, leaving only echoes of what had nearly claimed her. It didn't let her go without a warning. Lila, as the engine roared to life and she peeled away, she glanced in the rearview mirror. The trees appeared as sentinels in moonlight, but among them, she swore she saw faces, twisted in agony writhed into the bark. The woods were alive, and they would always remember her name. She had escaped, but the forest always collects its dues. And deep within those woods, the echoes of her visit remained, waiting for the next curious soul to wander too close.